Helen.
Hi, Carol. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for coming.
Very excited to be here. Hello,
Yeah,
everybody.
thank you so much. So, Helen, you've gone through quite a lot of changes recently, haven't you?
I have, and I've documented every step of the way. So I feel like every time I see someone, they go, "Oh, you've had a year." I'm like, I've had a year. Yeah, I've had an insane year. I kind of burnt everything to the ground and started again this time last year, basically. It's been 12 months.
Just like that.
Just like that.
You've changed your own identity.
Yeah.
And you say identity drives income. Mm-hmm. What was the moment then you decided that the version of you that the world knew, like not one or two people, but the world knew of you, wasn't the woman that you actually were becoming?
You know what? Sometimes I question myself because...
We all do, don't we?
I kind of remember the moment because I was in a team meeting, actually. So anyone's got teams, you have team meetings, you're on Zoom. And we were talking about this year coming up, the one that we're in now, so 2020, what day is it? 25. And we were...
Just about.
So I had a very successful, predictable, profitable business. And I was very famous, and my expert identity was kind of nailed on, as I would say. I was in expert authority phase, which is where everybody seems to know you, everyone seems to know what you do, you're getting the opportunities, you're getting asked to do the stages and the podcasts, and people are tagging you in things, and it's kind of like, that's the easy bit. When your business gets to that bit, it's like easy. Pushing it up, pushing that ball up the hill until then, you're pitching for things, you're asking for, you're looking for clients aren't looking for you. So I got to that stage in my business where I was like, this is easy. I just get to be the Beyonce of my business. I just get to show up and do the 5-day challenges. Everybody knows me. People buy, everyone wants to queue up and talk to me at events. It was great for the ego and the bank balance. I did my, I made $1 million it took me about 3 years to make my first $1 million. And then I did $1 million in 2020. And then loads of things happened to me, which I won't go into in some massive detail here. But, I was in the Priory, by the way, when I was 16.
Oh, were you?
Yeah.
Which one?
Altrincham, darling.
Oh, okay.
It was very fancy.
Yeah.
It was very nice, but yeah. So I had this kind of lifelong thing with my own mental health. And then my daughters, which we won't go into, had their own challenges with their mental health. And I also fell in love in 2020. So I had this kind of global pandemic.
Blimey.
Big romance. Trauma, children with trauma, it was all going on, children weren't in school and my younger daughter had lots of things going on. So there's all of this whirlwind of stuff going on. And I came out of that year a different person. I was a lot more gentle anyway. I was a lot more focused on my family. I was a lot less into the money, if that makes sense. Although I'm still into the money.
You'd already made it by then.
Well, yeah, I knew what it took to get to wow, I've done the 7 figures.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting there thinking, okay, so we did $1 million. Why don't I feel any different? Do you know, why don't I feel why is my hair still this flat? Where is the marching band? Where are the people? Where's the confetti? I was just sat in my office And
it's just another day.
Just another day. And I came out and just did the dishwasher and fed the cats. And I was a bit So it was kind of I'd hit that big milestone and that kind of thing that the online world told me was going to change my life. And my hair, because everyone had big hair when I started online. Everyone had these big bouncy doos on the Facebook ads. So I thought that would be what would happen. And it didn't. So I was kind of I'd gone through that and then all of the trauma and all of the stuff. And I really learned about bandwidth in 2020, i.e. not having any and still having to show up and shine and people need you, communities need you and all the rest of it. And I came out of that a different person, but I tried to be the same.
Right, okay, so you felt differently, but you carried on operating in the same way.
Yeah, talk about unmasked. I'd stripped away, built myself back in the background as a wife, as a, mum of 4 children now, of, leading my children through all of that trauma. And I was kind of but I'm still the LinkedIn woman, right? Everyone knows me for LinkedIn. This is what I do. This is how I make my money. This is my job. I can separate my identity from the person who shows up on the lives. I can still show up and talk about LinkedIn headlines and whether we need premium or not and all the rest of it I've been asked about for 10 years. I was I could still do that. And I did do it. But I would say that 2021 to 2024 was my cardboard cutout season. It was I was there and I was doing the job, But it was like you could have just knocked it over. And behind the scenes, I was like just a different person. I was building a different person that was much more around who I was as a person and what gave me joy and what was important to me. So it was like from the outside, it would have looked fine, like a film set. Do you know what I mean? Like it would have looked, you wouldn't have known any difference, and people didn't know any difference. And in a lot of ways, there wasn't a difference. It was still me showing up. It was just that it was that 2 a.m. me, that 4 a.m. me of like, I've got another, right, I'm doing another launch, I've got this, I've got that, you know, this is what we do now, you know, I'm the CEO of the business, I just show up and do the thing. And I had a great, you know, great team, great people doing the things for me. And then I had a team meeting and we were planning out the year. So, you know, we were planning out the year, we've got these 6 launches, we've got this, we've got that. And I remember I could just feel my soul leaving my body. I was just like, oh, another year of this. And I thought, I'm not going to say anything because the thing is, when you have a very successful business, a lot of people rely on you.
Yeah.
You know, like not so much my husband because he's got his own successful business, praise be. But like people rely on you. You know, you got your team. It's almost like your identity becomes part of other people's identity.
Yeah, sure.
You know, I'm a strategist for Helen Tudor, or I do this for Helen Tudor, or Helen's in my group, or Helen's speaking on my stage, and you know, and that's, you know, just become part of this puzzle really that I was kind of ingrained in. And then my team looked at me, and I think it was Gillian. I'm going to give Gillian the credit. It was either Gillian or Natalie, I can't remember. But and I should probably watch this recording back because we were just in there, just doing the thing. And Gillian said, "Or you could not talk about LinkedIn anymore." And I just
And
felt,
how did that feel?
I felt my soul suck back into my body. I'm like, could what now? What could I do now?
Do you think it?
Not
Do you
talk
think?
about it?
Do you think that came easier then? The fact that somebody actually suggested it to you, so you didn't have to be the one to actually say, "I'm not going to do this anymore." She came up with the idea, it wasn't me.
Idea. Sack her.
It's like, yeah.
But no, oh yeah, because it was doing. I always say we've got to be our own best client, right? And we're all terrible at being our own best client, right? I did. Gillian did for me what I do for other people, which is just give them permission.
Yeah, to be themselves, to
Just
find
like,
themselves.
you know, this thing you're doing that you don't want to do. Don't do that thing anymore.
What I'm interested in is that when you set up in the early days, the LinkedIn Helen,
Yes.
did that feel aligned then,
Yeah.
or did you just think, hold on, there's a great opportunity here.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, let me
Be
do
honest.
this. Yeah, let's be honest now.
It was a complete accident, to be honest. It wasn't a particularly strategic move.
Yeah, so you came across the opportunity and
Yeah,
jumped
so
on
I
that.
was running my digital agency and I was getting all my clients off LinkedIn. Can I sit like this, by the way? Is that okay? I don't know, I feel like I'm... I was getting all my clients off LinkedIn, so I didn't really think about myself as a LinkedIn expert. I just thought, that's where I get my clients, right? I do these things every day on LinkedIn, I get my clients. And it was, again, I don't know this man either, but God bless this man, in a ill-fitting cheap suit at a morning networking event in, must have been 2015, 2016 time, Warrington Golf Club, Queen on the wall, eating a 4th fried breakfast of the week. I don't know why I was 20 pounds heavier, I can't even imagine. But I used to go to all these networking meetings, you know, and he said to me, "So where are you getting all these clients from?" And I was like, strange man I've just met. I was like, "Oh, I get them all off LinkedIn." He said, "How?" I said, "Well, I just basically do." And I had a napkin and I went, "Oh, I do this. I just get this thing and I write my profile like this and then I just do these 3 things every day and then that's what I do." And he said, "That's not how you get leads from LinkedIn." I said, "Oh, right." Mansplaining man of the Warrington Golf Club. He said, "No, what's your strategy? What's your DMing strategy? What content are you putting out? What are you doing?" And I was like, "No, I do post, but I just post. I do like 1 decent post, and the rest of it's just day-to-day stuff." And he was just like looking at me as if I was insane. Anyway, a couple of weeks later, back at the same place, and he says, "Helen, psst, come here." I said, "What?" Strange man in your cheap suit. He said, "I did what you told me to do, and you'll never guess what." I said, "Did you get a lead?" He said, "Yes." I said, "Well, that doesn't surprise me because that's how it works." And he said the very important words, which were, "You should teach this."
Right.
And then I thought, if I can teach it to you over like a cooked breakfast, I'm sure I could teach it to other people. So that's how I started, really. I started teaching it for £99. I'd teach you in an hour. And that's became my £99 thing. And I started doing those and just did 3 for free, got some social proof, did that. I used to do like 3 a week, 4 a week, 5. And then at one point I thought, hang on, I'm doing 5 of these a week. I'm making 500 quid a week. And I'm doing it round the kids. And I've got my agency as well. I had a digital agency. I was like, this is insane. This is great. I love it. It's easy. It's fun. It's enjoyable. It's loads of money. Like 100 quid an hour is loads of money. I don't care what anyone says about prove your worth or whatever. I was like, this is amazing. So then I blew my agency up and I thought, I don't do that anymore. I don't have to deal with all those clients, all those like corporate clients that would just speak to me like I was, you know, a piece of shit because I was a supplier and they were this big brand. So yeah, I got rid of all my clients and I just started teaching it. I just thought, this is the easiest thing in the world. So yeah, it wasn't like, it's not a mission-driven business, clearly.
Yeah, so
it's like,
but
like, this is easy, fun, enjoyable, and profitable. Why would I not do this?
so you made £1 million doing something that came by chance.
Yeah.
That you jumped on an opportunity.
Yeah.
At what point was it the fact that you got like the agency behind you that enabled you to grow so fast in terms of being like not just Helen Tudor, but having your team to support you in terms of reaching those 7 figures?
No, definitely not. Everything I learned in the agency was completely null and void and defunct on the online space. The online space was like still is like the Wild West, right? I call it like planet. I call it planet insanity. You just land there and you're like, what the hell is going on here? But I kind of like, I understood.
I don't even question it anymore. I just let it go.
I'm part of it now. Like I'm responsible for part of planet insanity, right? I'm sorry. But like, I just looked at it from a distance and I thought, oh, I can see the game here. This is just a game. This is just snakes and ladders. You're a snake, you're a ladder, and I'm going to choose wisely, and I know what the plan is. So the goal is make $1 million online. I'm on square one. No one knows me, no one cares about me, I've got no audience. To get through the snakes and ladders to 100, which is make $1 million online without getting dressed on my bottom half and leaving my house, it's like, that's the game, I see it. So what do I need to do? Who do I need to become to do that? And what I realised, which still blows my mind, and I was talking to Sue earlier, is like I just needed to be myself.
Yeah.
That was my USP.
When did you realise this then? At what point in the development?
Right, okay. I kind of went onto it and I was like, right, I'm just going to show up as me. And everyone was like, we hate you. And I was like, why? I was like, what do you mean? All these like, mainly men, to be honest, but like all these people were just like, you know, you're too much, you're too direct, you're too northern, you swear too much, you drink wine, you're this, you're that. And I was just like, excuse me? It's like, this is me. This is, you know, I was brought up to believe like, I'm precious and wonderful and I can do anything. I was just a bit like, this is horrible. But also, there was also lots of people who were like, oh my God, you're amazing. You're really direct and northern and funny and you drink wine and you like no bullshit. And I was like, how is this a thing? How is this a marketing strategy? To just be yourself. But people loved it or hated it, which gave me a lot of friction. Mm-hmm. So what I realised is I just need to play on the friction line all the time. And it just exploded the business, really.
I think that's really important, isn't it? Because as women, we quite often want everybody to like us, don't we?
Yes.
So then we don't become like our true selves because we don't dip our toe in fully, do we? We're kind of like, we're like, hello, not.
And then the thing is, I do want to be liked. Like I do. I don't enjoy being disliked. I don't like arguments and friction, and I don't like people telling me that I'm a this and I'm a that, and I don't like having to get into an argument with somebody, but I did it anyway. You know, I just thought, I was going to defend my position. I'm not going to attack anybody. I'm not going to go after anyone else. I'm not going to tell anyone else that they're wrong. I'm just going to wait. I'm going to do my thing. And if people want to come at me, I will defend myself to the death, and I did. And, I'm not proud of that, to be honest. Like now I wouldn't even bother. Like someone comes to me now in the D, I'm just like, I mean, they come after Katie, they come after my daughter. That is a different thing.
I have seen you.
Again, not proud of it, but it is what it is. But now I'm just like, but now I have confidence that comes from evidence. I don't need to argue with people because I know I'm right. Like it's all right now. It's easy.
What I'm really interested in, Helen, is like you realising about changing your identity, because one of the beliefs that I have is about the fact that as humans, we constantly have to feel like we're developing, that we are, it is within us that all the time. So if you are doing something, even if you're making a ton of money, it does get to the point where it can actually drive things like depression because you're doing the same thing. Even if you're making a ton of money, if you don't feel like you're actually developing, that you've got new challenges. So I guess that was what you felt when you say that you got to the point where it's like another year,
Another year, yeah.
I know how to do this so easily.
Yeah, but it's hard. And I'd say, like, the more money you're making, the harder it is.
Yeah.
If a way you create a golden cage around yourself,
Yeah.
really, where it's like, I said this to my husband, I was like, Stu, who does this? Who gives up a successful, profitable business where everybody knows you and loves you and wants to buy from you? Like, what is going on? And I was like, but I feel like I have to do it. And he was like, yeah, just do whatever you want. But what I realized is that I could take all of the good stuff with me. Like, I could just bring it with me. It wasn't like I had to rebuild completely. You know, I didn't set up like a dog grooming business or anything. It was kind of like, it was a strategic step backwards rather than forwards. A lot of people are trying to go after the next thing. What I realized was, I was like, well, if I'm not going to do the LinkedIn thing, and Gillian said again, she said, it's the ideal client stuff that you love. It's the ideal client that everything comes back to the ideal client work. Your LinkedIn work is the ideal client work. It's just LinkedIn's the end game, the strategy, the tactic, you know, the thing that everyone needs to know. Well, what time should I post and what picture should I use and what words should I use? And it's like, you're asking me the wrong questions. You need to go back, work out who you are, who you want to work with and how you want to work. So what I realized in that, all of that amazing 10 years of working with entrepreneurs who I love dearly, like, you know, I just love, it's been the biggest, proudest thing I've ever done is to work with all of these amazing people who are doing this amazing work, much more amazing than me. Like I said, you know, I'm not particularly mission driven, you know, I'm money driven, but like to work with all of these people who've got these great, so passionate and yet lacking the self-belief or the structure or the strategy, and to be able to give them that was like, it was the biggest gift of my life, you know. So I was kind of like, how can I help these people more? Not how can I forget those people and go and do something else. It's like, what do these people actually need? Well, they need the identity piece. I need the identity piece. What I realized is I needed to do my own work. Yeah, the deep work. The deep work. Another layer. Bloody, the more work, there's more layers, right? I needed to do my own work so I could learn it and teach it simultaneously. Like, and Sue will tell you that's in my human design somewhere, I'm sure. But for me, it's just like this, I need to do this for myself. And at the same time, literally at the same time, teach it so we can all go with it together. Because the thing that used to keep me awake at night was my strategies work. So why don't they work for this person? And everyone else in the online space, including me, I'm not, you know, will say they didn't do the work. Yeah, they didn't do the work. They bought your program. They thought that would solve everything. They didn't do the work, right? And that is an easy soundbite. And I've probably said it myself, so don't cancel me because I'm sure I've said it. But the truth is, why did they not do the work? Is it that they're just lazy or they just want everyone to give them the answer? Or is it because they haven't got the identity piece nailed on? So the question we asked in that meeting is, what is the thing before the thing? What is the thing that would make everybody's strategies work? What is the thing that, no matter what course, program, person you follow, whatever you do, if it works, what will make everything work better? Not just my stuff. And it's this identity piece. So that was like the birth of the new identity for me. It's very meta, isn't it? I'm like doing a new identity, talking about identity, changing my identity, teaching identity. But yeah, it's been a wild year.
But you're happier.
So much happier.
So much happier.
I'm so much more peaceful. Now, someone said to me, what do you want? What do you really want? You know, that question, like, not that question again. So I want to be extremely wealthy and equally peaceful.
Yeah.
I want peace more than anything.
Yeah.
And I will not have the money without the peace. So the two have to come together.
Yeah.
So the peace is the thing that I protect above all else.
Because you know you can make the money because you've done it.
Making money is easy.
Yes.
Yeah. Finding inner peace is hard.
Yeah. Yeah. And protecting your time and feeling fulfilled.
Yeah.
So, Helen, if the women in this room choose just one thing to start doing things differently from today, something simple and something powerfully aligned in terms of their own identity, what would you tell them to do?
It wouldn't be to do something, it'd be to stop doing things.
So what would you tell them to stop doing?
That client that makes you feel a certain kind of way, when you see them in your DMs, you see them in your diary, you see them in your phone, that client, and you're all thinking of them right now, get rid of them with love. Yeah, just say, look, I'm changing the direction of my business. This isn't working. I can, if you really don't like them, you can recommend someone you don't like. If you love them, recommend them to someone that you love. But like, that client is the client that is stopping you. And that is the thing.
That's very interesting. I can really relate to that.
Yeah, because there's somebody, when I say your worst ever client, someone comes to your mind and they will keep you small because on a soul level, you do not want more of that. So you will just think your body will, and again, Caroline knows more about this, but your body will physically stop you doing the work to get more of that. It will protect you from that. Nobody wants more of that, because that client makes you feel a certain kind of way, makes you feel like you're not good enough, you're not worthy, your work's not good. But your best ever client, think about your best ever client, yeah, we're all like, oh, I remember, they're so great, they make me feel this kind of way, I feel so good, like in my body. This client makes me a better person just for being my client, makes me feel good, look good. All of that energy, that high vibration, if we're going to talk about manifesting, that's where we want to manifest our clients from. And as long as we're even in the orbit of those people that make us feel a certain kind of way, we will never attract the clients that we want, because we're vibrating on that frequency. That's when you see those posts off people, they're coming in hot, they're angry, they're upset, they're writing passive aggressive posts about people, or about the industry, or about the online space. It's because they're hurting, because there's somebody in their business that's making them feel like that. Just cut them away. Let them go with love and peace and, love and light and all that, because that is the energetics within the business that will stop you growing, in my opinion.
I think that is a really, really great bit of advice. I do, seriously. I think probably everybody's nodding around this room. Everybody can think of somebody who's being affected by that. And I think that is a great way for us to finish our conversation, Helen. But thank you so much. Your journey is amazing. And I'm so pleased that you've been able to make that transition, because it also encourages everybody else to really think about what it is they're doing and whether they feel that friction in terms of, are they on the right path? And I'm really pleased to see that you've got the peace that you want as well as the money. So thank you so much, Helen.
So much.
Really appreciate you.